Hello, everybody. I'm Jeremy, owner-operator of Green 13 for 15 years. Third generation auctioneer and dealer of antiques and collectibles for over 30 years.
We are Lysandra and Tony from ilovediscounts_com with 20 years of experience across brick and mortar, Amazon, eBay, and whatnot. We have built, broken, and rebuilt resale businesses, so you don't have to.
Hi, I'm Tracy, a CPA with over 30 years of audit and tax experience and have worked with businesses in various industries. I am also a seller on Whatnot, eBay, and Etsy.
Welcome to Reselling Roundtable.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Reselling Roundtable.
Hi, everybody. Tonight we are going to tackle one of the most debated topics in reselling. Maybe. The summer slowdown. Is it real, or is it just something sellers tell themselves when sales get soft? Every year around this time, we always hear it, right? Everybody's hearing it on social media. We're hearing it in chat shows. Everybody's saying, nobody's buying. Sales are dead. Summer is killing my business. But then you look around, you see some sellers are having record months. So what's really going on? The argument for summer slowdown is pretty straightforward. Families are on vacation, kids are out of school, people are spending money on travels, concerts, campings, pools, and experiences instead of collectibles and jewelry, vintage decor, and other discretionary purchases. Buyers who normally spend hours watching live shows might instead be at the lake, on a golf course, or sitting around a campfire. I wouldn't mind a campfire. But the counter argument is just as compelling. Money doesn't disappear in the summer, it just simply moves. Buyers may spend differently, shop at different times, or become more selective. Sellers who adapt their inventory, improve their entertainment value, increase consistency, or take advantage of less competition may actually see stronger results. On Whatnot specifically, there's another factor. During slower periods, many sellers go live less often. This creates opportunities for sellers who stay consistent. If half your competition takes the summer off, does that create a slowdown, or does that create a bigger slice of the pie for the sellers who remain active? Maybe the better question isn't whether summer slowdown is real. Maybe it's whether summer slowdown affects everyone equally. Is it a market problem, a category problem, a platform problem, or simply a strategy problem? Tonight we're going to attempt to break it all down, share our experiences, hear what you guys have to think. Hopefully you'll input some scenarios and or suggestions, and try to answer the question once and for all. Is summer slowdown real, or just another reseller myth? You're welcome.
It sounds so mysterious, Tony.
I know.
I have a personal question, Tony.
Fire away.
What do you think? What's your, like, the way you read that, it sounds like you took a whole broad approach, but what's your personal true base opinion?
Honestly, I don't believe reselling on eBay, Amazon, Whatnot, we have ever really experienced a true slowdown. Whether it's been summer or the tax time or the fall, we've never really experienced a true dip in sales, because whenever Lysandra and I are selling on a platform, we're 24/7 selling on a platform. Reselling has been our full-time together job for the last 8 years that we've been together. And every day we're adding products. When we were just on eBay, we're 8-10 hours a day on eBay. When we're on Amazon, we're 8 hours on Amazon sending that product in. I don't believe that we've ever really experienced a slowdown because we kept the continual growth of adding the listings throughout. And on Whatnot, we've only really experienced one summer. Last summer was our first summer on Whatnot, and there was no slowdown there. So, I don't. Can you have a pen? How about a Sharpie? So from our experience, I'm taking the approach of, if it is your full-time thing and you just keep pushing through it, I don't really think there's so much of a slowdown. But, as I said, summers are vacation times and time off, and kids are out of school, and maybe you're reprioritizing and doing some things differently that helps create a slowdown. Gotcha.
It still sounds like you're half and half there.
No. I honestly think if you are a full-time seller and you sell full-time and you are consistent with full-time selling, you shouldn't have any experience with summer slowdown. It should just keep growing. I've never really experienced it, so my opinion is if you keep going, and it's just there.
So based on your personal experience, there's no summer slowdown.
Correct.
Okay. Do any of us think there's a summer slowdown?
Are we literally going?
Oh, Tracy, wait.
Well, wait.
No.
I'd say yes or no.
I don't think there's a summer
all
slowdown. I think there's a change in buyers' habits, which is different than a summer slowdown.
Okay.
But you think that's specific through summer?
Yes.
So you think the summer affects the outcome of the sale?
Yes and no.
Actually, we should probably just let you give you your rundown if you want.
So, I talked about this last week, so it's all fresh in my mind still. I don't necessarily believe in a summer slowdown per se. I don't believe in the typical reseller J months are slow, January, June, and July. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I believe that buyers' habits change when you come the other months of the year when school's in. I think there's such a drastic difference of the summer months of, people are outdoors, they're vacationing more, they're spending more time, at the park, on the lake, doing all that stuff, where their habits change, when their online changes. I don't necessarily think that results in less sales. I think statistically data backs up that there's more spending in summer, retail spending in summer than any other time of the year, maybe Christmas. It's what we do as resellers. I think summer slowdown is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think we see less visibility during normal hours, that most resellers don't adjust or pivot in any way to accommodate the change in buyers' habits. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You see less people in your room, you think you're getting less bids, you're like, okay, well now I'm gonna go on vacation, I'm gonna take time off, you put on the brakes some, and then at the end of the summer you say, oh, well, I didn't make as much sales, there must have been a summer slowdown. So the whole concept of summer slowdown, I don't believe in. I believe that buyers' habits have changed and we as resellers need to adjust to the change in the buyers' habits.
So far, I don't have anything to argue about.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew we were all going to be in agreement.
So I'm right in line with Tracy. The numbers, if you go do some research, and I'm going to correlate this directly to the habits that Tracy's talking about. Summer slowdown, or also known as the summer slump, is another bygone principle. What it actually affects is the brick and mortar, which was true, because people are vacationing. You're not going out and buying groceries. You're not going out and buying necessities for standard life, your standard living practices or environment. You're going on vacation, right? You're going out, but enjoyment factors in certain hot spots and stuff like that, you'd see pockets of increased sales, but it wasn't enough to compensate because, again, people are enjoying leisure time. They spent their money on like tickets and stuff like that to fly somewhere or to take a cruise somewhere, whatever it is. But now, if you go and look, you'll see that what is called in-app purchases, which is app-based purchases, increases, some of the largest increases in spending on in-app purchases. And just so if you're curious, Whatnot's in-app purchase percentage, 90% of purchases are done through in-app, the actual purchase. So if you have more time, and people are obviously more addicted to the utilization of their phones, so if you actually take vacations and take time off, what are you going to still have in your pocket? And you're going to have more time to have access to it. It's going to be your phone and the apps that you decide to shop on, coupled. So with that just that alone paints a picture that it actually should be going up as far as valuations, right. As far as sales go. There shouldn't be a reduction in sales. So the other attribute that every other aspect that a online selling platform like Whatnot that involves the emotional, the social, the entertainment value, all that coupled together, any app that has those attributes associated with it also increase exponentially during vacation time. And we have all of them coupled right into one big pile. It's the only environment that's like that as of now. That's why, you hear me talking about how I think a lot of these platforms are found to understand that and capitalize on those principles. But you link all those things together, I don't believe there's any reason that you should be having any type of slowdown other than what we've all already agreed upon. It's your own personal environment that's causing a slowdown. It's you taking the vacation, you being distracted. The other, elements that come into play is, was it you, Lysandra, said, or somebody said it was a self-fulfilling prophecy environment?
Tracy did.
Yeah. Oh, Tracy said that. That's going to happen too, even when you're live selling. If you feel like things are going bad for you, it's just going to compound because of the environment you're creating. You're going to feel it, and it's going to show right through. So, we might be hitting our backup topic a lot faster than we were anticipating.
Yeah. Before you get into your quarter of it here, let me ask a question, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the brick and mortar stores slow down more because people are traveling, or perhaps it's because the inventory never really changes?
Well, I'm going to tell you, my statement had to do with the bygone era aspect. Now there's the principle of the numbers that are showing for this year and last year are even brick and mortars because of the connectivity between app-based buying. Mm-hmm. I forget what the term was called, phygital or something like that, where it's physical and digital, where you're in there at the same time. So the app leads you to the essentially promote you actually exercising a purchase in a location. Once they started utilizing those concepts, they've actually not really been seeing too much softness in sales, especially when you account for the uptick in like big box retailers and stuff, where they can capitalize on the seasonal sales that are associated with the actual holidays or the summer, like camping stuff. Like just as a simple example.
So does that lead to that people during the summer want to get in and out of the store faster, so they're not as willing to take the time to search for what they're wanting around the store?
Yeah, they're like in line or walking through the store utilizing their apps to locate, buy, and get out the door, which causes more. It all just leads to additional sales of what's going on. And the other thing I do want to mention, if everyone started noticing that all the big box retailers, all the big sites, Amazon, they're all, even Whatnot is doing this, where during these months they're running incentivized, either reduced commissions or the like Amazon's running, essentially pushing another Black Friday into the summer. And what that creates is a halo effect, because if people are on buying, they're associating with purchasing during their holidays or their vacations or whatever they're doing. So it creates a halo effect of sales. But I mean, that's just in a general term. I'm not even talking about, again, what we have the opportunity to capitalize on with the social and the entertainment aspects coupled with the selling. And What's the other, the frictionless aspect of Whatnot.
Yes.
I don't know if you're familiar with frictionless sales.
Mhm.
They are about the closest thing you're going to get. You're not putting things in carts. Frictionless means there's no time in between a purchase decision.
That's how Tony buys 100 Atari games.
It
You're welcome.
it's done. So that factor helps build into it compounds the elements of the social environment that is built upon the sales environment that we have the availability to partake in on live selling, which is also obviously all the key factors that help there really not to be a slowdown. Again, if anything, it should be an uptick because, like I said, if you're addicted to your phone, when do you have more time to spend on your addiction? When you are off, when you have time off.
Yep.
I find it
100%.
so ironic though. There's so many people. I mean, I think I know Lysandra and Tony and I are in and out of chat shows frequently, and it's still such this common misconception. I've probably heard at least 6 people in the last 2 weeks say, "Okay, this is how we prepare for summer slowdown," and giving the
Oh, yeah.
advice. I find it very ironic. I wonder how many people actually take time to do a little research and to kind of dig into things, or just go with what everybody else is saying.
But some of that is just feeding into the fear mongering to get viewership,
Possibly, yeah.
whether they
I
believe
won't
it or
disagree with
not.
that. I mean,
Huh?
it's content that attracts people. I'm saying I won't
Correct.
disagree. It's content that attracts viewers.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. My curiosity is, what strategies would you suggest to people that think they're in the throes of this happening to them, other than kind of what we said? Like, me personally, I think people fail to understand what we all agree on and believe, to the point where it's the one thing that Whatnot has said that I agree with from the start, is the consistency factor.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where the problem comes in. The holidays break that consistency
Thank
factor.
you.
And then, you end up having these issues and you want to blame it on an extra, an outside factor.
Yep.
So
I was going to expand on the self-fulfilling prophecy, because I think that's really what it is. It's a lot of it's in your mind, and because not only are you taking your own vacations, but you have opportunities to source more, because there's a lot of people on the app still sourcing from yard sales and garage sales, which are happening during the summer months and when it's warm and nice out. And I think people tend to lose some of that consistency to source more or go on their own vacations. My suggestion is add an extra hour to your shows. Maybe add one pop-up show a week if you're really that worried about it. Go harder at it. If you're on a static listing site, list 3 more items a day.
Or 30.
Or 30. Because Tony just wants to kill himself. But I mean, that's really, it's all up for me. And Tracy brought up a good point with people's, I mean, I don't feel like our schedule really changes that much, but I can see that. I live on a tourist lake.
Mhm.
People are on the lake all day where there's no service. So there could be something in there where people typically are online later at night in the evening times. They're less likely to be on during Saturday, afternoon. I have no data to back that up. Zero.
Right.
So please take that with a grain of salt. So it also could be something, if you're going to add in like a pop-up show, maybe you try to tend towards those times to see how it works out for you. And maybe you end up finding a whole new onslaught of people that never knew you before.
I don't think it's more. I don't think adding a pop-up show is a bad idea. I don't always agree that more is better or more is going to produce the results you want. So I wouldn't suggest doing more shows in the summertime. I would suggest being committed and consistent to what you've already been doing. Keep doing what you're doing, and then look at your product mix. If it's summertime, if you're a clothing seller, maybe shorts and bathing suits are what's in and not snowsuits. I mean, you take a logical business approach to what you're selling. I did some research. There's like 8 different categories that are like trending top sellers in the summertime, and some of them would surprise you. Jewelry, accessories. People are going out on the town more. They want to look pretty when they go on vacation. They want to buy their cruise wear. So, you start thinking about that. Outdoor stuff. even vintage decor. Guess what I bought a bunch of today? I bought more planters than I normally would buy because that's what's selling right now. So I think we need to be more strategic and thoughtful in meeting our customers' needs where they're at in the season that they're at, versus just, I'm going to throw another show, I'm going to throw another show. You're going to burn yourself out. And then when I say commitment and consistency, I also mean, if you are just you, and a lot of us here, a lot of us on eBay, whatnot, whatever, we're one person team or a husband and wife type teams. Guess what? You're the whole business. So when you go on vacation, you better schedule a time to get on and do a chat show or a pop-up of some sort. If you want to take your time off, if you want to have 2 weeks to go to wherever, you're a small business. It's going to hurt you. It's going to affect you. So don't do that and then complain about summer slowdown. So if you're really serious about your business and it's just you, figure out a way to keep that consistency even if you're going on vacation, and then look forward to the day when you have a team and maybe you could have somebody run for you while you go on vacation. I think we tend to just give excuses too much, and it's, oh, well, I can't do it, and then you complain about it.
I mean, we just did the Shop Happy Challenge to make sure that we went live every single day while we were gone to Pennsylvania and New York. Not saying they were the best performing shows ever. I have my reasons why I have my opinions on why I think they weren't great performing shows, but that's another topic.
And Colton,
we've even
go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to
No, go ahead.
Unless you want to answer, Colton. Do you think there are less shows, competition in the summer? 100%, because so many people have that self-fulfilling prophecy. So many people believe in the slow months, the J months, that they don't work as hard. And more of a chance for those of us willing to bust our butts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just like you got the same sellers that are going on vacation and not going live, you got the same sellers that have the feeling of failure before they even press the go live button, so they never even press it. Why even bother if it's going to be bad?
Yeah, I agree with everything.
You're supposed to disagree.
I know. You knew I wasn't going to disagree with that. I've talked about this numerous times.
Yeah.
And the conclusion, I always just gave it in a short summary. It's more about what's going on in your life than it is about what's going on the app. I mean, I read when I was doing a little bit of to get a little bit of data, ultimately auctions and the way we sell. Anytime somebody's buying something for that is coupled with enjoyment, it's about the dopamine hit. And somebody mentioned very simply, dopamine doesn't take a vacation. So you're not gonna it's not gonna not happen.
Yep.
In other words, if people have an opportunity as well to be on there to shop, they're going to do it all that much more. And that opportunity is compounded when they're on vacation. But I also want to say that one of the other suggestions, and we all kind of around about said that, is knowing and understanding this principle is better than blaming things being in a throes of a slowdown of some sort, because we hear all of it. We hear the summer slowdown. We hear the back to school slowdown. We hear, I hear the tax season uptick and slowdown. The
January
case is
slowdown after Christmas.
And then you have the Christmas. Everyone's done spending their money because they spend it all on Christmas. We hear all of it, and like Tony said at the beginning, if you go back and you're consistent, you'll be able to go back and look at your numbers. The one thing that will change is not a slowdown. You'll see an uptick in certain elements of your activity, like the holidays. Depending on what you're selling, you could see an even bigger uptick than other categories of sales. But what I want to say is that understanding this and realizing this may help you then take that vacation and not feel so terrible about it, knowing it's a natural occurring aspect of what's going to happen. So you don't take it personally and think you're doing something wrong. It's just normal. You take your vacation, it's going to hurt you, and that's normal. And then you know what to do and get back on the bike and be consistent as you go. And that's, I'm saying that because I realized last year from burning myself out. Now I do have people that can help me sell, fortunately, like Tracy was saying, but that's one of those, recipe for that disasters as well. If you literally have a super high intense engagement factor of being on all the time, you're going to need to take those breaks and just realize whether it's summer or whatever, when you take the breaks, the outcomes are going to be, um, you know, cause a slowdown for you.
Yep.
You know, you don't need to blame it on something else. It's okay. It's normal. And you, knowing that allows you to have the freedom to then excel from there.
And if,
So, oh, go ahead.
let me just throw a couple scenarios in with this same thing that Jeremy's talking about. If you are a seller and you are basically on your own, you have to be able to deal with your vacation time and your time off, right? Or else you get burned out. Lysandra and I have done that. But here's the question. If you are on eBay and you're doing static listings and you put your shop on vacation mode because you're going to be gone for a week or two or whatever it is, you're obviously not getting sales. Then the question that I want to raise to that particular scenario is, how long does it take once you've taken your vacation mode off to get back into the algorithm of eBay and promoting your shop over the others?
That goes for Whatnot too.
I'm getting there. Specifically to eBay, you can put it on vacation mode, but how long does it take before your shop gets pushed back up and your listings get seen above other listings because you are on there every day, listing every day? Does it happen immediately? Does it take a week? Does it take 3 days? So do you experience a slowdown for a longer period of time in the static listing world just because you went on vacation?
I
Now,
don't think you can compare the two at all.
well, I'm going to throw Whatnot into the same scenario. You take a week off of Whatnot and you don't run any shows. How long does it take your subsequent shows to get back into the rhythm you were before you went on vacation with the discoverability?
And specifically with Whatnot, how many people found another amazing seller in your typical time slot while you were gone?
I've got a little bit of an answer, but I'd love to hear Jeremy's on this. I'm going to start.
Here's the problem I have as far as answering this is eBay is a non-factor for me because I don't put eBay on vacation mode and I do very little of it. So I don't have any point of reference, unfortunately, to it. As far as Whatnot is concerned, there is a magnitude beyond calculation of factors. Some of what Lysandra's saying works in the opposite. How loyal, how long have you been on? What kind of customer base did you build? What type of anticipation did you build for your return if you strategically applied the right principles to when you were going on vacation and like, I'm going on vacation, but when I come back, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. So you guys got that to look for, to build anticipation. There's way too many factors. And that's just a couple things that I literally just thought of off the top of my head. And I can guarantee you there's a ton more that could benefit you if you did it strategically in the appropriate manner. You could actually turn a vacation into a positive thing if you have the following to do it. If you have the following to do it, caveat to that. If you're new on Whatnot and you've only been on and you don't have it, that you're not going to have that ability. Okay,
that's
so
right.
that's. But one thing I can tell you is eBay is a static situation. You don't have as much control over it. eBay has the control.
Correct.
Yeah.
So to me, just on that plain factor alone, I like controlling as many facets of my business as I possibly can. So if you're asking for like what I think might be more positive, you obviously know I'm going to go Whatnot or live selling.
Exactly.
With all the other factors involved that you can utilize in order to leverage the positive outcome and or the negative outcome if you misuse them or don't use them at all.
Yeah. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I think Tracy had something.
Oh, Tracy.
Yeah. So it's been a while since I've done eBay. I backed off of eBay last year. However, if I remember correctly, you can put on vacation and still have your shop active, and it'll say shipments will not ship until a certain date. So putting it on vacation on eBay versus putting on vacation on Whatnot. On Whatnot, you're gone. There's nothing. There's nothing in marketplace. They can't buy anything. So if you're on eBay, vacation is just a delay in delivery, which can hurt you just as much. We're an instant gratification society.
It does.
However, I would beg to ask, if you're that serious, and especially building up or maintaining an eBay business, it's a static listing. Why can't you take pictures and have them ready to hit 3 or 5 listings a day while you're on vacation? I go back to
Yep.
the commitment and consistency part of it. And then when I look at Whatnot, as far as vacations, again, I'm going to go back to commitment and consistency. If you are a seller that shows up every Saturday at 4 o'clock, every Saturday at 4 o'clock, and you know you have a vacation coming, and you start talking about it 2 or 3 weeks in advance. Hey, on the last Saturday of the month, I'm not going to be here, but guess what I'm bringing back with me? You know, like Jeremy was saying, make an event out of it. You're building. I go back to what we talked about, last week or the week before. Your loyal buyers. How does that work? You're building a base that's going to see you through when you're sick, when you're on vacation. A good example, there is a seller who went out, she went to another country, very popular one on Whatnot, went away for a couple, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 weeks. She continued to do shows, maybe not selling shows, but it was shows to keep that engagement up. Thank you. He's holding signs up over here. I got it. Thank you. So I think it's the behavior before you go on vacation that matters more so than the fact that you go on vacation. It's what are you building? You know, if you're one of those sellers who are like, okay, I'm going to come on whenever I feel like it, I'm going to miss a day here and there, people don't care. They're like, oh, they're being flaky again. And I mean, so it affects about the consistency and commitment for a long period of time before you go on vacation. It should not hurt you.
So let me just step back on the eBay side of it. I have never once purchased an item from a seller who is on vacation mode. Ever.
There's no doubt that it affects it. It's the Amazon effect.
And then if what you're saying is, and I don't disagree. Lysandra and I literally just had the same conversation last week about having drafts created so that while we were in New York and taking this week that we just did, that I could just complete drafts, keep the eBay algorithm going, and there's no impact there.
Guess who didn't do it?
I did not do it, but that's not the point. The point of that scenario is this only works if you have someone back home shipping for you. You can't possibly carry your entire eBay inventory with you when you travel. So you have to make a decision if you're a solo or a couple and both of you are gone when it comes to the shipping of those items as well.
Yeah, but you also don't need to put it on vacation for the full time. You've got 2 to 4 days, whatever your time frame is to ship. So you could get it up to the end of the moment, and then take it off vacation mode before you get back. Also, I'm just going to do a plug here.
I'm not.
Not that I have no affiliation whatsoever, but if you are a seller doing eBay, doing whatever, all the platforms, look at the tools that assist you. Look at some type of cross-listing tool. I'm not going to name them. They're out there. You guys know what they are. But look at a cross-listing tool. Tony, if you had a cross-listing tool, it would be one click of a button and those could have got posted. So, I mean, think about the tools you need. When you're just yourself or you and a partner, you have to rely on AI and other tools that are out there to help you make the most of your business. Don't think you're going to accomplish all the same stuff. So utilize what's available to help with your commitment and your consistency.
God love you all.
Thank you, Millie, for keeping me on track. But I do have 10 more minutes. Yeah, and you're right, Tracy. I'm sorry. You're coming.
You're good.
You're coming. And you're right, Tracy. We are just in the beginning stages of building up on eBay again. There are tools out there.
You already know my suggestion.
I know your suggestion.
We're talking about eBay, not the waste of oxygen.
Yes, and no.
What not to give us UPS and FedEx, then I will happily put 40-inch table lamps on Whatnot.
Yeah, I'm not looking to ship this big stuff on Whatnot.
No, you don't need to. There's also other apps that you could have held large quantity style sales, such as High Bid, live auctioneers, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe take a little bit less of a commission, well, not commission, but price. on the items because you're selling them out so that people can come and actually pick your items up. I don't know if you could have did that, but that's the type of stuff I'd have been looking at in order to recapitalize large amounts of stuff to then continue my business on whatnot in the fashion that I am.
Yep.
That's me.
I understand that. And we'll look at other things too as we're going. Trust me. I
would highly suggest that if you have a huge backlog of stuff, are you going to get 100% of retail? No, but are you going to get rid of a large chunk of merchandise for reasonable prices? That would be recapitalizing your situation in order to apply it towards a faster means of high rotation inventory, which I know you guys understand and had put it, put it into practice in the past, and we'll have no problem putting it in practice in the future as well.
You're exactly right, and
vacation wouldn't matter because you're selling huge chunks. You can time it perfectly, and you're like, okay, this auction ends on this day. I'm getting rid of a ton of different merchandise, and guess what, Lysandra, you can use whatever shipping method you want through those platforms as well.
That's right.
And then you go on vacation, and the timing factor wouldn't have mattered at all.
Exactly. Go ahead.
So.
I think it's a really interesting conversation. I know we're bunny trailing, but I mean, I see both sides of this. I was an eBay, Etsy lister. Like I did 3 or 4, if not 5 platforms with Whatnot for a good year and a half. It's been in the last year that I've backed away from everything. One very, very small part on Etsy, and just like 99% of what I do is on Whatnot because of some of the stuff Jeremy was saying. It was, I would have inventory sitting on my shelves, and there was twofold. One, inventory taking up space in my home that I have a very limited amount of inventory for, or space to hold it, and I would much rather fill that with the Whatnot stuff that I'm turning over faster. The second part of that, mentally, it was a very hard game to go between I want a static listing price and a profit margin on an individual item to looking at a profit amongst over a week or a month's worth of shows. That mind game between the two on pricing and being comfortable with my profit margins between the two, it became to the point where I would rather just focus on one.
Have we done a live selling versus static show yet?
Our very first one, I think, was on that.
Yeah, but I feel like it was more like what is live selling or the benefits of live selling, not so much a comparison. Anyway, it's a bunny trail.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me personally. Bunny trail for anytime we all are basically 100% in agreement of what's going on in the conversation. I don't mind.
I have been trying to speak for 20 minutes.
Speak.
I wanted to go back to what Tracy was talking about. It's her favorite word, pivot.
No, it's actually my least favorite. I like strategically adjust.
I know, I was being sarcastic. So she was talking about today when she went out sourcing, she bought a lot of pottery pieces or potty plants, pot holder things.
Planters?
Yeah,
Planters.
Thank you. And because that's what's selling right now. So I just kind of wanted to give a list that could help you go along in sourcing for summer. Because no one's buying winter coats in the summer unless they want a crazy good deal. There's a reason why Walmart and Amazon clearance out those winter coats before summer hits. But look at outdoor items, garden decor, patriotic decor. There's a lot of patriotic holidays in the summer. One I found interesting, vintage glass for entertaining, but I'm going to expand on that and go to anything entertaining. So if you're a vintage seller, start looking at vintage tablecloths, linens, glassware for entertaining, cups, plates, the transferware plates, any of that stuff. Vacation and travel items. Obviously, we've mentioned it probably at least a dozen times that people are vacationing during the summer, including yourself. And Tracy already said summer jewelry and accessories, which kind of surprised me when I was doing a little bit of research before the podcast, but it completely makes sense. People go out more. They go out to dinner more. Everybody want to look good.
Everybody want
to look good.
When do we get to sell fireworks?
Never. You gotta have a license for that.
I know.
And a whole lot of insurance. I used to work at a fireworks store, funny enough.
Yeah.
I want to add one more thing too that we didn't talk about when we're combating summer slowdown. I mean, it's not even really combating because it doesn't exist. But when you're thinking about it, stay consistent, not just in your whatnot sales, your eBay listings, whatever you're doing, but in your social media. Somebody mentioned social media, and it's so important to stay consistent in that too. Here was it Sassy said it. Thank you for saying that. And not only just being consistent in that, but you're sending the message through your social media that, hey, well, everybody else is off vacationing, come see my show. So it's even possibly even more important to stay consistent if you are a social media user. Not everybody does that, but.
So, Tracy, how many people do you think are going to lose their premier seller status due to summer slowdown? I've been holding that in my pocket
hopefully
all
of
morning,
them. No,
all day.
Are we moving to this premiere thing because
No, we don't have to.
It's been
That
eating
was
me up
about
since
a
Jeremy's show
softball
this
approach
morning.
to the segue.
It kind of was. So, but before that happens, there's 24 people watching live right now. If you feel like you have a different scenario or a comment or any questions
Or something we
about,
missed.
or like I said, a scenario that we may have missed that you would like to discuss or put out there, please. I mean, we four are not your 100% experts. We will happily take suggestions and questions on this if you feel like we haven't covered everything. So throw some stuff in the chat if you want us to talk about it. Go for it. I only
had my question that I stuck in my back pocket since like 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah,
So no one knows what I'm talking about this morning. You know, everybody, and let's congratulate Jeremy. Congratulations on getting your wings. Come on.
My weak sauce.
Golf clap. Golf clap.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
And I feel like most people here know his feelings on it. And I saw Tracy kind of getting a little heated in his room this morning, and I always for everybody that goes to Tracy's morning talk shows, that's why we go there. She gets heated. She really gets on subjects, and I knew this was one that was really getting her. So I told her it would probably be a good segue since we were talking about summer slowdown and the premier seller metrics have changed, at least one major one. And with summer slowdown, one of those metrics is sales and the dollar amount of sales that you do over the 3 months, which I'll let Tracy go into it and what she thinks with it. So anyway, I saw her getting heated. I was like, this might be a good segue for summer slowdown since it's tied to sales, and that's kind of what we were discussing in Jeremy's show this morning, whether he saw it in the chat or not.
So I have a question. I didn't see the change in the dollar amount. I saw the change in some of the other things. So what?
No, there's not a change in the dollar amount.
Okay. I was gonna say that threw me off there. So yeah, basically, and Jeremy, you correct me if I'm wrong. What I took from your show and your conversation this morning was that the metrics that Premier Shop, besides the 50,000 on a rolling 3-month period, having a 4.8 rating, shipping on time, whatever, I think it was within the 2 days. The fourth metric is you have to maintain a customer service score of, I don't know what it is, excellent or something like that.
It's your response rate, and basically it's almost like they got rid of that quality listing attribute and started dealing with that response rate and how well you're dealing with the customers. The feedback rating might be included, but I'm not sure. Feedback rating as in if there's like different one. How do I want to explain that? Everybody, you guys are doing customer service. You know what I'm talking about. There's that rating that you get
100%.
that somebody gives you. If someone gives you negative after you provided customer service, I don't know if that's factored in. That one I don't know, but I know it's the response rate, whether you respond to that. So from my understanding, that's essentially all that kind of flipped. The requirement for the quality listings flipped over to now it's going to be more heavily reliant on all the same metrics except for that customer service metric is now going to be included in as a requirement.
So, Colton, we see your question. Don't go anywhere. We'll come back and we'll answer your question. From what I took from what you were saying though, is that there's more focus on your response, on your customer service attributes. And right now, maybe that's not the perception in general, but moving forward on Whatnot, that you see the premier status being more heavily weighted on that customer service. So in essence, what I took from that is the wings mean you have good customer service, you're a better seller, that you provide this great customer service. And if this is going to be the general perception, so the wings get boosted up to the top a little bit, supposedly this is happening, and we're being told it's because they have better customer service, is that not in essence saying those of us without wings do not have as good customer service? You can't, I mean, it's almost implying without saying it. And I feel that if that's going to be the focus, then they need to take the dollar amount off of there and give me just as much of a chance to prove my customer service, because I'm doing it a lot, not just me, many of us without wings are providing the same and if not better customer service than people with wings, but yet now we're going to get pushed to the bottom. I feel that we're going to get pushed out. If that's going to be the main focus, then you need to level the playing field. Then they need to remove the sales.
Well, I agree with you 100%, Tracy. I don't know if you heard what, or maybe I wasn't portraying what I was trying to say or articulating it correctly. I don't think there should be wings at all. I think we should be on the back end being supported by Whatnot or any live selling platform based on what we do, all that. And it shouldn't be dollar amount centric, okay? If you want a dollar amount centric type of sales tag to give people for incentive, just call it that. You don't call it a premier shop, you just say top seller or something along those lines, like they're doing with the banners that they have right now. Just that are not even highly positioned. And the reason I say that is because there needs to be goals for people. Goals will always help contribute to the betterment of the entire platform. Everyone, just like when Whatnot did one of the best things, in my opinion, when they decided to put where you can actually see how much money you're making during the show. You used to not be able to see that. You only know it when you concluded the show. That those type of things help you, self-driven people to succeed. I don't know exactly 100% what's right, but I don't think having that sales number metric is the correct way to determine the premier shop sellers. I think premier shops should be available. I think the only thing that the metric I do like is having experience on the app, to a certain extent before you get it, like the X amount of shows per month and all. And if you hit those numbers and provide a perfect customer service experience, there's no reason you shouldn't be a premier shop seller or get the benefits that come along with it. It should not be, so heavily based on the dollar amount. The dollar amount should be subject to a different perceived, attribute to your account. If they're going to have one.
I have a question for you, Tracy. Do you feel like you're getting pushed down now and pushed out?
No, I don't feel like I'm getting pushed down and pushed out. However, I do see that the writing's on the wall if there's going to be so much focus on the customer service side of it, that, oh, they're premier, they got the best customer service, they wouldn't get premier if they didn't. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but you've got to recognize everybody else who's offering the exact same, if not better, customer service. It can't be like I feel that the smaller sellers will get pushed down in that. You've got to remove, I go back to the financial metric. You've got to remove that. You can have a seller has $49,999 in earnings in 3 months, and a seller who made $1 more and they have premier and the other doesn't. Does that really mean that the guy who got premier is better? Does it mean that they're going to ship you stuff faster? Does it mean they're going to have a higher quality product? None of that sounds true. It just, to me, I'm not seeing what the use is to the buyer. Like, why advertise this to the buyers? Just take the wings off completely. Do whatever metrics you want. Take the wings off. Give us a discount on the back end. But you're segregating us. Whatnot is segregating us by putting the wings on there. And I mean, I don't know. I'm getting very heated about it because I do feel that it is pushed. It's making a distinct line amongst the sellers.
Yeah, I agree with you. You heard me talk about that in my chat
Mm-hmm.
show this morning. I want the wing. I
Yep.
think the wing should be gone, and you should be giving congratulatory emails to people that are reaching benchmarks that Whatnot wants you to. Just like letting them know, like, hey, thank you for the great work you're doing. Your metrics have been
Yes.
solid for the last 30 or 60 or 90 days. You are now in whatever you want to assign that attribute to. Like you can, you now have access to better customer service, which my issue with that, my perspective on that. But if you're going to give rewards, it doesn't have to be something that's out there, uh, you know, for all to see. And the reaction is going to be the same, and the drive to keep it's going to be the same. And the problem that you're having right now is those metrics that they have are all good, and it's something you want everybody to strive for. And I think what you're kind of saying, Tracy, is you almost, if you have somebody that is like, I'm never going to reach that, you almost inherently won't try to reach all the other metrics either. It doesn't
You
give you the
could,
same
yeah.
drive for the customer service attribute if you already feel like, I'm never going to reach that. So I don't have to work as hard to keep up with the other stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's all different ways you can look at it, but again, I don't think it's that hard of a concept that they could apply it from a different perspective, from a
I feel
different avenue.
I feel like they should do like badges. There should be like a
So,
customer service badge, and there should be a top earner badge. And
I mean, can
if
Yeah,
you wanted to,
yeah,
if you wanted to recognize people, do it with individual badges. Um,
I'm going to throw out because I have to step out.
Tony's like,
But
I need to talk.
but I just want to throw. Well, we're on this topic, and I want to throw it out here. Do we have the same feelings and emotions, or not, to the same principles when they're doing it on eBay, where you earn that top seller badge for selling X amount of items, but you get a badge on your thing, and you earn, a commission or a little
but
decrease in commission there? Or are we simply doing this because of the social aspect of Whatnot?
well,
Mm-hmm.
first I'm going to say the social aspect could be an element that influences the effectiveness of this and the way it looks and is portrayed and taken upon by buyers and sellers. And secondly, just think about what you just said. The
Yeah,
verbiage is top seller.
yeah,
It's not Premier Shop, and Premier
that's true.
Shop sales the perception behind top seller is completely different than Premier. Premier is
I
supposed to give you the impression that you are holding your own in many regards, and that would be included in um,
Mm-hmm.
customer service. And you heard me
That's
talking
fair.
on the show. That's part of the problem. That's why I don't like having the wings, because I think it has too many negative
Mhm.
associations to it, because people got it by utilizing loopholes to get it, and customer service wasn't even a factor in that, because so many people that have it weren't even tied to their own customer service. So when people had bad experiences, they had a bad experience with Whatnot's in the association to that premier seller status. So you're like, okay, these are supposed to be the top sellers. They're supposed to be the best customer service people. They're supposed to be, all around the quality people on here. And I had these bad experiences, and I know multiple other people did as well. So that's again one of the reasons why I'm not happy with having the wings.
So,
Right.
and I apologize, Jeremy. I was getting ready for work and driving. Uh, what has been your room count this week since you've had your wings?
Well, the only and I can be very easily just like, I can be personally affected by self-serving biases, meaning that I can blame the results on outside factors like, oh, I got the wings, and today's chat show was the lowest room count I've had for my Sunday chat show since I can remember. Um,
I
but
think
that's
that's
it.
more about consistency, if you ask me,
Why? Because I took a day off.
because you've taken some Sundays off of it
Yeah,
recently.
it could be. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but my that's a self-serving bias potentially at play. I wouldn't know until do it more. The problem I have,
I see.
summer slow down. That's a good one. That makes me laugh. There's a zinger for you. But it's hard for me to say because I've been promoting the estate sale,
Hmm.
that all that stuff I've been talking about it, telling everyone to show up. It's going to be a good time, a bunch of fun stuff and amazing, things mixed in with mediocre to lower end stuff. So it's just going to be a fun, entertaining time for all. Um, so I had really good room counts, and then I had my watch sale as well. And my watch sale, when you're selling
It's
Rolexes
huge.
and
Yeah, yeah.
you're doing that kind of stuff, you're going to have a good room count. So even if I didn't have a watch sale for a month, the same thing. I've been telling people, hey, I'm having a watch sale. There's gonna be Rolexes in it. There's gonna be all kinds of really good stuff. So I don't have very good, I my parallel sales aren't there to be able to tell you what I think the true effect could have been as a result of getting the
I'd
least.
I'd be interested to see because, like, for the sellers beyond the commission the reduction, which really isn't that much in the grand scheme of things, it's the discoverability and maybe some faster customer service. That's the big benefit for sellers to be premier and have their wings. But as you said, there's such a negative connotation around it. And Tracy has talked about that she feels the smaller sellers are going to get pushed out. But why wouldn't that already be happening if that was the case? The wings have been around for a while. And while I think at first there's going to be plenty of sellers that originally were not eligible for those wings are going to get them or have them now, I think the customer service is going to weed more of them out, and it's not going to be as much as you think it is.
No, I still
This
Well,
think
is
this is
I
why
have
I think we're
one
going to
trace.
get pushed out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, no matter what, when you have a value factor involved, you have lopsided favoritism.
yeah.
That's you, as long as there's a that's in there. I just want to get that out there that you have lopsided favoritism. There's nothing, everything else in there, anybody can do, like Tracy was pointing out. So
And my
So,
thing, my thing with it, Lysandra, why I think the smaller sellers are going to get, they're going to get pushed down to the bottom of the algorithm, or the For You pages, whatever it is. But it's more so the perception. If, and this is an if, the Whatnot places more focus on the customer service, like these people are premier because they have the best customer service. If that's the case, think about it up until now. Up until now, the metrics, the only real metric that people couldn't meet is the $50,000. So for me as a buyer going through, and if I understood that, which I think most buyers do, it's like, oh, they probably just didn't make 50,000 in sales. They see people who they know, people that regulars, that they go, oh, they have another job, maybe that's why they didn't get their 50,000. It's not about quality. It's not about customer service. It's not about shipping. It's they didn't meet the 50,000, and that's
money.
less of a thing for a buyer. It doesn't mean that it's a bad seller. Versus, thank you. Versus if we move forward and more focus gets put on this customer service, that is unintentionally implying this group of people has good customer service and this group of people has bad customer service, just by natural implication. So whether they're going to say that or not, that's going to be the implication if they put a lot of focus on the customer service side and promoting that and talking about that. It's just going to imply that, oh, now in the buyer's minds, it's, oh, they didn't make $50,000 and maybe they don't ship, or maybe they kind of suck too. Like, they don't know. Well, right now it's really easy. That's why we haven't seen it already, because buyers are smart enough to be like, I really don't care if you made 50,000 or 10,000. I like your products. But start throwing customer service into that mix, now it starts to raise questions.
it's supposed to, from my understanding, the way you read the email, they're making it, or the on their page, where I forget where I went, the link that I went to, it's kind of the way they're portraying it. In my perspective, is it's supposed to be a transactional reflection, which would stipulate that there's no need to have the $50,000. If that's true, it's like, hey, we're trying to give you, kudos for having spectacular from the beginning, from the time you sell someone, you're providing what the people want. So that's why they, in my opinion, the perspective of getting rid of the quality listing attribute, and now it can just be, generic listings, because they're finally realizing, like, hey, there might be a bunch of people that actually like this. Guess what? There is, because a huge percentage of your quality listings were just loophole generic listings. So that metric was, they tried it, they pushed it. I don't think it didn't work out, and they realized it. So instead, they finally concluded, like, hey, we want it to be all transactional based, and they just haven't quite figured out that that $50,000 has nothing to do with the transaction between the buyer and the seller. Let's cross our fingers and hope that happens, Tracy.
See.
We're good. They did an about face from 1 week.
They did.
We have
So
we have
Well,
those lucky turnarounds.
I've
I've
got
got
one
two
more.
things to say.
All
I'll
right, I
go
was going
ahead,
to say,
Tracy.
I've got one more quick point. What we haven't discussed is the optics from a whatnot perspective. So, any seller without wings, right now, the optic is you don't care about me because I don't make you enough money. That is the optic. And it's a bad optic. Whatnot is telling us they only care about the people who make money through this change that they made because we're meeting every other metric. I'm not opposed to Tony's badge idea because then it's like you've got a top seller, top earner badge or whatever. Okay, fine, I don't make that, but I'm still a good seller. I'm a good shipper. I do good customer service and I do all this other stuff.
So I think the $50,000 is Whatnot's way of trying to motivate sellers to sell more because at the end of the day, how are they making money? Sales.
Yeah.
Is it a good way to motivate sellers? No, because there's unintended consequences, like what Tracy just talked about. The badge idea is what I talked about, and I had an interesting conversation with Kenny at the New York meetup, and they are testing in the UK right now this thing called gems, and it's not just a seller thing; it's also a buyer thing, and kind of going based off of a reward system that you win these gems. So on the buyer side, they might get a gem for so many hours watched in a stream or whatever, or so many purchases. And on a seller's side, there would be a customer service gem, there would be a fast shipping gem, there would be items sold gem, and there'd be all these qualifiers for you to get these gems, and they're playing around with gamifying, as well as kind of adding those badges. It was interesting. The one thing I he did say that I didn't like is some of the badges can be purchased.
So that defeats
Yeah,
the
I know,
defeats
I
the whole
know.
thing right there. Defeats. They're meaningless. It's absolutely
Well, and
meaningless.
I haven't looked at it. I need to find a seller that's had experience with it and what it actually looks like.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to agree with you
I
that
gotta
there
go.
should
I'm
be
gonna
a
go buy some
tiered
wings
system.
real quick to, mine are gonna be like, bigger than the other
I,
wings.
Lysandra, I think the idea of like having badges, and I also think that if Whatnot wants to strategically benefit from it, always having incremental goals for people to reach is
Hmm.
always a good thing. It's going to keep them on. It's going to keep them selling longer. It's going to keep them earning money longer. And I think if they got a large amount of the people that don't reach 50,000, that $50,000 benchmark, if you had other, badges to get throughout the process, they're going to do it. They're going to work towards it. And when they reach it, it makes them feel good, makes them feel like they've reached a point of accomplishment. And then they're just going to do more in order
They're
to
gonna
get
work
to the
harder for
next
the
one.
next one. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's that
So
little dopamine hit.
Yep.
and those things aren't even little; those are consistent. Because then the other thing is, if you, depending on like how you get, if you lose it for a little bit, you can always be like, oh, I hit the summer slowdown, so I lost it, but that's okay. Once summer's over, I'm going to get it back and work at it. So, you know,
Yes.
it works out in the end. So.
You know what I say about summer slowdown? It's like those people who are block happy. You just take your vacation and you keep blocking people, and my show will be there every single week without fail for all those people to come to me.
You can have the
Yeah.
customer I blocked earlier today.
Nicole, I totally agree. Yes, the first badge should be given out if we do badges for people who do proper shipping practices. 100%. I think we're all on board with that.
The shipping badge. Anyway, I'd like to see what it's about. And I think it's interesting that they're going to include the buyers into it too. I just hope they take out the purchasing of whatever badges. Again,
I,
I need to figure out how to go check out the UK version of the Whatnot app.
I don't know. I start feeling like that's. I feel like I'm starting to be part of a video game or something like that, like
Do
some
you
kind
feel
of.
like do you feel like you're part of an experiment, Jeremy?
I mean, if
How
they
does
start
that
doing
feel?
that stuff, it's gonna be kind of weird. Like, but that's me. I like to try to keep things simple, and I when I go and watch these other like platforms like TikTok Shop and stuff, I don't know what's going on. They're like, oh, you go do this, that. There's like all this different stuff you can do in certain rooms. I'm just like, this looks more confusing. What's simple is if you just put something up somebody wants and sell it to them.
Well,
Obviously, that's
I think it's kind of that copycat thing. Honestly, I think the wings really come from what Tony was talking about, where like eBay has
Mhm.
a little badge thing that goes on your whatever I'm trying to say. It goes on your next to your name saying you're a great seller. And I think they're just kind of trying to copy that from other things. The gems idea and their little idea of badges. I mean, if you are monetized on Facebook or TikTok or trying to get monetized, it's all gamified on the back end. All of it. You go through steps and you earn badges, and I think that's just kind of that's just the people growing up today, right? We're all in a video game.
it's one big
Farm,
gambling arena. Is that what you're
yeah.
saying?
Maybe.
Farm made a good point. She says getting wings and keeping wings are two different things, and I couldn't agree more. I actually sat down yesterday and I did all the math on okay, if I want to get wings, where do I need to be to get wings? And I looked at that and I'm like, that's a lot. Like, and then to keep that up every 3 months to get to that rolling 3 months to keep up because it's the sales. Let's face it, that's what we're talking about. It's the sales. The rest of it's easy. So there's a huge population on Whatnot that probably will never hit that sales mark. And then if you get it once, and I've said this since the very beginning, you get your wings. How many of us, I know y'all do it. I know you do. You're looking on the first of the month or the second of the month, and you're like, oh, they lost their wings. Oh, they lost their wings. Oh, they got them. Oh, they lost them. And that loss perception is far worse than ever getting them.
I
The
got to
only
tell you,
the
Tracy, if
only
that happened to me, I would celebrate it. I'd have a big show, fallen angel sale.
Look,
I
yep.
have
I'd go crazy.
never once looked to see if someone got their wings or not. Never
I
once.
haven't intentionally gone to look for wings, but I definitely, when I'm scrolling my For You or the whatever, I'm like, oh, they lost their
Yeah,
wings.
it's funny
It's
though.
noticeable.
I got 3 messages about Jeremy's wings.
You did.
I did.
Why? I
I
did.
keep them.
I mean, I had some people say congratulations, but yeah,
It's a hamster wheel that I
Dude,
don't
selling
know.
that much is a hamster wheel
And
because
honestly,
when we got on Whatnot and we were doing the health and beauty of food, we hit that sales metric all the time. But back then we didn't read the TOS and sold some things we shouldn't have. Nothing insanely horrible, but against TOS nonetheless. So even though we had the sales, we had the mark on our account. Now it's opposite. We don't have the sales, but every other metric is amazing. So
I mean, I would much
but
rather
I know
have,
it's a
yeah,
hamster wheel.
I would much rather have the badges or some sort of indication on things that matter to my buyers. That's what I, give me a badge that says honest chat show host. I'll take that badge any day. Like I want stuff that means something.
I don't disagree.
What? What are you laughing about?
We have found a subject where we pretty much completely agree on across the board. And Jeremy, his entire conversation could literally be, I entirely agree with that. I don't disagree at all. I think it's funny.
I love it. I feel like Tracy has talked more today than Jeremy
I
has.
agree.
The whole wings thing gets me worked up. It really does.
Farm. I don't. I mean, I don't. I'm sorry. I just came in. I don't disagree with the percentage back at all, and that's
Yeah.
primarily the reason why I was shooting for wings in the first place. Was to. I mean, it's a small number that you get reduced off, right? But when you're doing volume, that little small number adds up, and it adds up to a big number over the course of a year. So I want
But
that
it's
percentage.
it's only volume that's if you're just barely hitting the wing amount, if you're just hitting like just over the 50,000, the what you're getting back is like 4 pizzas a month.
Minimal.
Yeah, it's like really, it's a couple of Starbucks and a pizza here and there. It's not much, as you can see. Yes, I measure wealth in food, but if you're doing true volume, I mean, you're doing volume. Yes, then it's going to start to add up.
Oh, you might like this, Jeremy. Farm there in the comments. She doesn't call it wheatgrass. She calls them maxi pads.
Gotcha. I can't make beer out of those. Yeah, well,
All
I don't have
right.
too much else to say. I mean, my position on it, you've heard it. I've said it twice now today. I'm curious to see if there is any. The only thing I've said in the entirety of my hope for having them, now that they were provided to me through the change, because people were like, "You earned your wings." I'm like, "No, I didn't earn anything. What not just change the rules?"
Yeah.
People were like,
And now it
"No,
qualifies.
I didn't earn anything." They just realized that they were looking at it wrong, and I was right. I'm just joking.
So
I want to
here's
answer a
the
question that Lysandra, hold on, Lysandra asked a question. Maybe Jeremy asked it earlier that we never actually answered. That question was when the people who already have wings and then had wings for a while, when they have to do their own customer service, are we going to see a big drop of people like their wings going away? And my prediction,
I don't think you'll see a big drop, but I feel like it's going to even out.
I think it's going to hit them
there's going to be a
hard.
drop. I think there's going to be a drop because I do believe a lot of the people that had that they were not involved in their own customer service, and it's going to be a big drop on them when out of the blue they have to deal with it, and as a result, them dealing with it, making mistakes, figuring their way through, providing what's necessary for the customer service. From going from 0 to 1,000 is what's going to happen. It's not need to deal with it at all. To hey, now you have to deal with your own problems. That's a big change, and they're going to flub up on things, and people are going to have problems. And some people, certain business-minded and mentality towards business, that actually does not work with whatnot's expected customer service policies they have right now. Like that's just a reality of the situation. And I think the only offset to that is people like me and my brother that stuck with just doing static listings, and we qualified with that one exception of using that loophole of a picture in order to get the wings. There wasn't a whole lot of us that did that.
Yeah.
So that would have been the only offset in my perspective to offset the losses that are, I believe, indeed coming when that day hits. I think there's going to be certain categories that people are just going to not even lose their wings, but they might just drop off the app entirely because they won't be able to make any money being responsible. And the other thing we forgot that we didn't mention here, I think, and I don't know, maybe someone here can correct me if I'm wrong, the shipping attributes are going to start counting against us when they start calculating. And if they don't, I won't be surprised if they do in the future. If you're hitting too many costly shipping adjustments.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just you're going to have to pay for it. What's going to happen as a result of that are people can go like, okay, my business model is okay with paying for it. Whatnot's finally going to get sick of that too, because it still creates dissatisfied customers for the times that it doesn't get credited back to the third party place and somebody does get it at the door. I know it's not supposed to happen, but it does still happen, and some other factors. But if that starts getting incorporated too, then you're going to see some more people lose their wings.
Ooh, did you see those poll results?
Not yet. Question. And I don't know if it was answered in the 15 minutes I was away. I apologize if it was. Just say it was answered. If Whatnot did not have the Premier Shop banner to suggest buyers go to Premier Shops, and I have gone into these Premier Shops who are newly winged, if you will, or maxi padded or wheatgrass, whatever you would like to call it, and I feel like a lot of them that I've gone into, their numbers have gone up. Do you think it is more fair to earn the wings if they're not promoting them specifically in that banner?
Wait,
Would we have less of a problem with the Premier Shop if Whatnot was not promoting that to buyers?
I don't think it wouldn't change my perspective or the way I view Premiere at the moment.
well, I'm kind of curious if I'm going to rewind a little bit. How much of the factor that you're talking about of things increasing for them is attributed to them doing more of what's right in order to get more people in order to try to get the wings? So it's not the wings themselves that are doing it. It's
No,
just the actions
I think
behind what they're doing.
I think there's a pretty large uptick in Premier sellers because of the one change that happened with listings. There is.
There is, but and we were talking about earlier. Once that customer service metric starts to hit, that it's going to go back down.
Yeah, but right now there is a larger proportion of sellers who are Premier right now, this month, and this day because of the one change, not impacted by any potential changes to add into Premier shops. And those newer Premier sellers in general have a larger amount of people in their rooms. And I'm curious if it's just because of that banner, or do people actually go out and search Premier Shop sellers, which is probably that banner for Premier Shop sellers.
I mean, I would have to say you have a better pulse on this than I would, because I don't go around watching and or pay attention to people that have Premier Shop or not. That's not,
So
even if I did pop into somebody's room.
And the only reason why I say is because my experience, I am seeing those numbers. What I'm asking is, would we have a little less, or would anybody have a little less bad taste in their mouth about being with the Premier Shop status if that promotional aspect of it on Whatnot was not there?
Well, the funny thing is, what I didn't finish saying way back when I went on one of my own personal bunny trails, and a simple thing that should have been a simple statement was that's all I would be looking for out of my wings is the push in the algorithm. Because
I feel like that 0.8% or whatever it is, I think it's 0.8%, right?
Mhm.
On a volume that you do, that adds up. I don't think I would only be looking at the push. I would have been looking at the 0.8%.
Yeah, but the 0.8% static, the push adds compounded value.
It does. It does.
So that's just why my focus and wish would be for that. I mean, if they had it, that's great. But I don't know. I mean, if it's not pushing me in that aspect, I'm not worried about it.
Fair enough.
That's me. I know a lot of people think that small percentage is huge, but now that I have it, I will actually be able to go and look at it to know, and maybe that'll change my mind.
Yeah.
But my trade-off previously was to the point that I would rather have that much more visual real estate for people to buy, because I think it creates a much better buying experience, which is another socially compounding attribute to value on this site, than having a picture and long descriptions and all that kind of stuff in the way. So now that's removed. So I'll have a better, I'll have a better viewpoint for me personally from that perspective of just the value behind it.
Yeah.
Because that's gone. That's not a factor now.
Yeah.
So I guess long story short is I really don't know until I see the numbers and see if the number's high enough to be impactful in my mind or not, to want to have it and then not care about whether it's a push or not.
That's fair.
So, Farm says that she would like to see a metric of how long the seller's been selling on the platform. I 100% agree. I couldn't agree more with that. I think that's a huge indicator. I also want to answer the question on whether I think the question that was answered earlier about when the people who already have wings, when they have to do their own customer service. there's a whole group of honest people who have wings that are doing good customer service, doing what they're supposed to do. They're shipping correctly. They're doing all the stuff. They're doing all the things the correct way. There's a whole group of them. There is also a whole group of people who are not. And I think it is going to be eye-opening to the people who are not and their followers, because it's going to be so visible, the things that they've been doing incorrectly when they have to do their own customer service and they lose their wings and their whole business model changes because of the bad shipping, bad practices. Here's my thing. If you're not being honest in your shipping, and we all know there's a ton of them out there that have wings that are not being honest, you're probably not going to be honest in your customer service either. If you're willing to be unethical and cheat in one area of your business, you're going to be unethical and cheat in another. And now it's finally going to come out, and it's finally hopefully going to have Whatnot's eyes opened up, and all the people that follow these other large people and promote them. I think we're going to see a huge shift when that occurs. I think it's going to be a visible shift.
I
Yes,
kind
we
of
have a
disagree with you.
disagreement.
I feel
First one. Let's go.
no, this isn't the first one, but I feel that the particular sellers you're talking about, their followers already know. And for one reason or another, they have made it okay in their mind to and still stay within the group and loyally follow that seller.
For sellers, because
Yeah, there's more than one. There's way more than one.
Yeah.
Yes.
I-
The buyers, yes, but the sellers that follow them and now they're getting in trouble for the advice that they took, there's going to be a huge shift in Whatnot because of it.
My personal opinion is the justifications used in order to do what is being done will just shift to softening that in order to comply with the other end of it, and they'll continue to exploit whatever they can, but they also have self-preservation and they're going to have to adjust and adapt, and depending on how any people decide to spin that perspective will determine whether what kind of fallout does or does not happen. So, I mean, who knows? We'll find out when that all starts coming out. I do want to go back to one little thing, though. What were we talking about? A metric for time on Whatnot?
That, and you also
lot
have
of
another
sellers-
question to you. So
A lot of sellers would like to see like where it has our ship time and our review ratings and all that stuff. A lot of people would like to see also how long that seller's been on Whatnot. So it would say Green 13 has been on Whatnot for 5 years. It would say Zoe's Treasure's been on Whatnot for 2 years or 3 years.
Whatever it's been, yeah.
Would that not also potentially handicap new people?
It does. It does. It absolutely does.
That does actually.
That's
It does.
that would be my fear in having something like that.
Yeah.
Is
But-
that it would hurt new sellers.
This is
doesn't,
my, this is,
in
this is my
essence, don't
first
we
day.
have that? In essence, don't we have that with the number of sales, number of reviews, number of followers?
Yeah,
Can't
but-
you kind of derive a little bit of that same information?
You can,
Maybe
but
not
there's a difference
exact.
between somebody that has to take multiple steps and come to a conclusion, as opposed to something that's blatantly plastered right there in front of you that says
It takes
new seller. They don't even have they're not even on a month, or
Yeah.
you know what.
it takes
I
3
mean,
clicks to see how many they've sold and determine if they're new. But at that point, you're already in their room rather than scrolling by and seeing that it's a brand new seller or something along those lines, right?
Yeah, I don't know what you meant by a metric, whether that would have been like something somebody has to go look at. And I'm sure there's ways around this. There's probably ways that if you wanted to do it, that people that have been on for less than 6 months, you don't get, there's a gray area where you don't know someone's on until they've reached 6 months. So anybody from 1 day to 6 months is grouped into the same category. So that would protect some of that in essence from happening. I just didn't know if I understood what you were saying.
Yeah. Farm,
Farm,
you should know by now, we don't disagree with you. There should be something there. Sellers, I say people, but sellers who have been on for 3, 4, 5 years, there should be something there to give them more credibility if you've never been able to get your wings, right? I mean, we know there's plenty of people who have been on for 4 or 5 years who will never sell $50,000 in 3 months. We know that.
And my frustration with everything we're talking about concerning the wings would be solved if they just did what I kind of was suggesting before and doing away with them entirely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had badges or something like that for different specific things, but if you just rewarded people in the back end personally, I mean, it could just be like, I said it already. Sorry, I'm repeating myself here, but just a simple congratulations email from Whatnot, even if it's a cut and paste or just a auto-generated thing, letting you know that you're doing the right thing. That's going to go just as far. I believe it'll actually go further as far as incremental steps go. And then you could uptick it into badges to see, but this whole wing thing, the wheat stalks or whatever you want to call it, causes more problems than it's worth from on the platform in it as a whole, in my opinion. And I think what they're trying to accomplish could be accomplished with less negative implications and less negative aspects to it than the wings.
So the poll results, and I'm sure most of the chat saw that, but I don't know if Tracy or Jeremy or Tony saw it.
I did.
The poll results: are you more likely to buy from a seller with wings? 50% of people said no, 45% don't care, and only 5% said yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's not surprising to me. I'm going to just say the obvious. Whatnot put the wings in place to pad their own bottom line because they understand how people will perceive and try and strive in order to get them. It's goal oriented, progress is what they're applying there. We're just human. It's our human nature to try to get a status symbol of some sort. So no matter how small that factor may be, a lot of people are going to try to get it. So
Yeah, you're right, Farm. I mean, and I don't take a ton of stock into polls because typically polls come up right in the heat of a specific conversation,
Yeah.
and we've swayed people, or maybe we didn't, or maybe everybody felt the same way.
Well, or a lot of the people
Bias.
that follow and buy from us, we all have very similar perspectives, and everyone knows that, and those are most of the people that are here. So
That
you're
are
gonna
here.
have
Yeah.
Correct.
that similarity, principle, and bias of like-minded perspective. So
There's a question from the audience for Jeremy from Battle Bush in the Oven. If you want to read it, it's Spanish.
So it says, Jeremy,
Battle bunch.
your recent uptick in regular numbers coincided with your wings and promotion of the estate the same week. So I would consider it skewed. Do you consider it skewed? And then after this, we have a question from Donatella too to address.
Yeah. If you go back and watch this video, I tell you that it's 100% skewed. I can't give an accurate perspective because of those exact factors you mentioned. So I wouldn't know until I have a lot longer time frame, and unfortunately, I have a lot of. Bottom line is, I'm not going to know, and the reason why is because if I do things properly with this entire state, I have a lot of backlog inventory that's just going to keep hopefully the rhythm going. Hopefully I can compound the effects of having this estate and just continue going through with the backlog of inventory I have. So to really know whether it's that whole aspect, the wings, or what, I'm not going to know because it was not timed in a situation that I would have been able to draw some type of more accurate conclusion.
And then
What is,
Donatella asked, well, she says, I can say that her customer service rarely get messages of issues. It's like zero. Are other sellers getting lots of messages on the panel or in the chat dealing with customer service? So for me, I'll do a real quick answer. My customer service rate, or like for me, the way I measure it, anything that has come to me that has been an issue of any sort is 0.007. So I have less than a 1% issue rate. So I feel that's pretty decent rate. I don't know about you guys. I don't get a lot of customer service.
I mean, I know we don't. I don't know what our number is.
I don't know what her number is, but we don't have hardly
It's
any
been,
issues at all.
I get obviously more than most people, but as a percentage, it's the same or lower.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's,
okay.
as a percentage, I naturally, the amount of stuff I sell, I'm going to get
Yeah.
more, people that are going to, complain or not complain, but have, that I'm going to have issues. Just statistically speaking, when you ship out that many packages, just from the standpoint of the post office losing packages and running into issues or damaging stuff, I have to be involved in that at this point now. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to have more numerically than most people, but percentage wise, it's next to it's very very little. But however, it's still enough to drive me nuts.
Do you
Well, I
find
still
it
think
odd? Do you find it odd that the customer service metric, because I saw Sassy was talking about it with Donatella in the chat. So I think the criteria is you have to have at least 10 customer service requests for you to end up getting that customer service metric on your profile. I find that odd.
Mhm.
Why did they even make that a thing? Why wouldn't it just be
Why,
here's your customer
why
service
do you
matrix?
why do you have to have
If
at
you
least 10 problems before you get the metric
if
put up on your
if
profile?
you have zero problems, then you should have great customer service, right?
you should.
Unless they find some way to tie that to the amount of sales that you do, the only way they can determine, because if you don't do a lot of sales and you have zero, they don't know if you actually have good customer service.
Well,
So
yeah,
so make it
Like
a
let
percentage and based off of your sales.
I mean, the reality of it is, I think if I sell
yeah,
10,000 items in 3 months and I had zero issues, I have fantastic customer service.
yeah. I think they should not, if you hit a certain sales number, whatever that be, to determine that you're having exceptional customer service if you have zero. If you don't have very many sales and you have zero customer service problems, just statistically, you're not going to find out whether that person's good at giving customer service.
And the problem with
Well,
that is
and
the folks with lower numbers, sorry, Tracy, the folks with lower sales numbers are always getting hit with higher percentages of issues across the board because they can't roll them out as fast as volume sellers can.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
and let's not, and I'm not saying anybody here is doing this, but okay, there's loopholes to everything, right? And I'm sure this is going to be exploited. How many people, when something breaks, not as described, whatever the issue may be, and the buyer messages the seller, and the seller's like, "Oh, let me tip you some money back. Let me give you a coupon," and it's completely handled outside of Whatnot. There is no tracking on that. That's part of the reason I'm like, no, put it through Whatnot. I'd rather it go through Whatnot and be on the up and up than doing it on the back, on the side. But that's going to be what's going to happen now. Everybody's going to be like, oh, I'll just tip you $5 or I'll tip you $20 for that order. And it's not in a system anywhere, and there's no metric of it.
I got a question for you, Tracy.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
So this directly happened in one of our shows this past week at your house. Normally our jewelry shows are $3.99 max shipping. I accidentally set it up for $9.21, but we were advertising it at $3.99. One of our mutual customers ended up purchasing most of the items in that short little show, and we told her we would take care of it afterwards. And I tipped her the money for that additional shipping cost. How could she have went through the system? I guess is there even an
There's a
option to
way.
say that I got overcharged on
Yep.
shipping?
There is
Yeah,
a
there
way
is.
for
Would
them
you
to
have
say that.
had her go through that?
Yes, 100%. I have never done anything on the outside. Now, I may send a coupon with my apology after it's gone through Whatnot as my own customer service method. But no, I'm a stickler for that. It all has to go through Whatnot. 100% goes through Whatnot. And it could be because I'm distrusting, but I'm not going to PayPal you money or tip you money and then you still get it back from Whatnot. Like, it's gonna be there. I'm gonna be on the up and up. I'm going through the proper channels, and I'm gonna train people who buy from me that's the way I do. That's the way I operate my business. I
And
don't
that's
believe in the
fair.
side methods. I just don't.
And that's fair. There is a process in place for a shipping refund. It's there. Millicent's just put in the chat the steps that it takes to do a shipping refund and overcharge. It's there. I think Lysandra did it on the fly just for ease. I think it
I'm
was
not
just easy.
saying
Oh,
that.
and I'm well acquainted with her, so I knew
Yeah.
that it was okay to fix it that way.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's not like I try to loophole at all, Tracy. For the most part, if I get a private message because they're a loyal customer and they don't want to get me in trouble, but they had an issue, I tell them go put in a refund request. It's completely fine. My metrics will not suffer
Yeah.
because they're already good, and a problem here or there is not going to affect me negatively enough.
This probably
Correct.
comes
Yeah.
back to
Yeah,
my
Donna.
audit background is
Yeah.
if I'm not doing it if I am not leaving a trail in the proper manner that Whatnot has dictated under their rules, their game, their system, I'm playing on their like you say, I'm playing in their sandbox. I'm going to do it the proper way. I'm going to make sure I have that documentation in the audit trail to come back to if there are any future issues. There may never be a future issue, but I feel that I want to do it right to protect myself and my customer. If I do it on the outside and there happens to be a future issue and Whatnot says, well, show me your point of view or tell me, and I say, oh, here, I tipped them, Whatnot's going to be like, yeah, so what? So you liked them and you gave them some money. That's not, So
Correct.
I just believe
Correct.
it, and it probably comes a lot from my audit background of having proper documentation, proper systems, and it's just how I'm trained. It's just ingrained in me. I don't know.
And I don't disagree with that, Tracy. I mean, everything should go through the process, and there's tracking, right? It's all about the tracking. Would we have tipped someone back if it was $40 over? No. Go through the process and do that. But it was $6,
You're
$5. But
uh,
no,
you're excusing it, but in the end, with the way that Tracy thinks and believes, it
no,
doesn't matter if it's $1. It doesn't matter if it's $40.
correct. I
You
understand.
get through the proper channels.
And I'm gonna go with Donna on this one a little bit. It's more of a case by case with us. If it's someone that we know and trust and they've been a regular customer, we probably do a little bit lax on the rules around that a little bit.
And
Maybe.
that's when you're gonna get in hot water because you think that
Probably.
you can circumvent whatever is already put in place by the platform because it's more convenient for you.
No. I don't think
Yeah,
of it
we're
as
just super stickers
circumventing
for
the
it.
platform to be more convenient for me. I think of it as I have a loyal customer and I want to fix that
I can
issue.
fix it in 5 seconds.
Yeah, it takes me 5 seconds and I can take care of it right on the fly.
And
Yeah,
then you're
someone
gonna have
comes
to
in.
justify in the opposite why is it that I didn't get the same treatment.
Well, I don't normally make it
exactly.
public knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't normally make it public knowledge. Lysandra did in that particular show make it public, but normally it's not public knowledge.
Yeah, but the only public part that she said, I'll chime in a little bit here with this conversation, but you just said that you'd make it right publicly. You didn't say the means at which you're planning on making it right.
Also true.
So the
Until
means
they're
of making it
public.
right.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. I don't discount either. I think it's a personality perspective. I don't think you guys are going to get in trouble. You just put yourself at risk of somebody deciding if they went through and said, I never got anything and they told me they were going to make it right. And you would point to the tip and they would say, well, the tip was just for, funsies or because you enjoy you like the person. But as long as you use the metrics at Whatnot once you, like inside there, I wouldn't care or think you're going to get in trouble. I think we had a conversation similar to this not that long ago.
Yeah, we did.
Similar.
But
Yeah.
the safety thing, go Tracy's way. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Me, just for simplicity, I don't like to have to remember to do all that stuff. I get myself into trouble and I'm like, yeah, we'll take care of it outside of Whatnot or this and that. And I get too much other stuff going on and then I end up as a super upset customer. I'd rather just tell them, Like, I appreciate you message me, outside of the customer service thing because you're trying to prevent me from having a hit on my account, but just process it. I'm fine or whatever in that specific situation that you were in, Lysandra. I probably would have asked them if they could find out how to do it through Whatnot.
Yeah.
Just
And
just
so
because it would have been easier for me to see a case come in and just handle it because it's so much faster for me.
So Donatella asked, so if I bought from you, Tracy, and it was a $4 purchase, whatever happened, and you message me, would I send you to Whatnot? I absolutely would. I would send you an apology through DM. I would reply to you how sorry I am. You would probably get a coupon saying here, for your inconvenience. And please go to Whatnot. It would include the instructions. Click on this button. Whatnot will send me the request and I will refund you immediately. I will hit the button for the approval immediately. I'm going to keep it in there. It's not just the $4. It's the $4. It's the tax. It's any shipping that was applied to that. It's making sure that my fees and that's coming out of my ledger. It keeps my accounting clean, keeps the records clean. And if I lose a customer because I'm going to make you click a few buttons for a refund because I'm making you do it the right way, and I'm not getting on you, but if I'm going to lose a customer for requesting them to do it the right way through the system in the platform that they're buying in, that's going to be.
Here's my
It's
other
going to be that way.
perspective. And this is going to lend towards something I'm pretty certain Tracy's going to agree with completely. If you're looking to scale your business and build it, the applications through Whatnot are trainable to an employee.
100%.
All the ancillary, like we do it this way in
100%.
this situation, this way in that situation, and it depends on how much I know 'em. And the person that's an employee is like, oh, well, they're not going to know. So
I
if
agree.
you adopt that principle and those practices with the forward thinking, or if you're in the mindset that, hey, this is where I want the business to get to or be at some point in time, adopting it now is always going to be the best. I mean, I've
I can.
I've done that where I try to do stuff. Like I said, that just gets me in hot water. That just causes a problem. I'll answer messages when I'm first thing in the morning when I wake up, and then by the time I get to work and everything's going on, I don't fulfill on my commitment. So I just like, okay, that is not providing proper customer service. That is not a good experience for my customers. So I try to direct them just quickly right to the customer service portal.
I 100% agree with that. Trainable systems. Um, I thought there was something here. Wishlist Rose.
Oh, go ahead.
Please message that to me on Whatnot, and if you're able to come in tomorrow night, we'll talk about it in the shipping show.
Gotcha. So let me just throw out here, Donna and everybody else. I 100% do not disagree with Tracy. Right? Sometimes we may one here, one there, take care of a regular customer. But as Jeremy said, a trainable process for scalability. Absolutely. Do we eventually want to scale this into something else again? Absolutely. Do I want to be the face of my Whatnot channel? Not really. I'd like to hire it out and just have it done so I can do other things. But the scalability thing and having a trainable process is absolutely a fair point to having it done. I don't disagree with Tracy. I was married to a woman who was a CPA. I understand her mindset right here about making sure that everything is there and covered. I don't disagree with it at all. Sometimes, though, I want to do a quick and down and dirty thing that I know will never have any consequence.
I'm going to sum this up really quick. My point of view, because yes, I know a lot of it comes from my training and my background, but my point of view is I joined an app. I signed an agreement of some sort to say that I'm going to follow your rules. I am now not at liberty to pick and choose which parts of terms of service that I'm going to follow and I am not going to follow. I have to follow terms of service. And I would feel like the biggest hypocrite if I sat there and did a chat show and said, oh yeah, but you can ignore this part of terms of service. No, if I'm going to put myself out there as a chat show person saying stuff, then I better be doing it too. Like I feel that, I just can't pick and choose. Terms of service is terms of service. Follow it or don't follow it, and you're going to pay the consequences if you don't.
I understand with you, Tracy. I'm not arguing about it with you. I totally understand what you're saying.
We got on this
maybe
topic because of shipping, didn't we?
Probably
I have no
everything's
idea how we
shipping.
got here, but we're
Everything.
here.
It had to do with refunding somebody because of
No.
shipping.
Oh, the refund, the shipping
No,
overcharge.
we were talking about the customer service matrix.
Oh, gotcha. But shipping
And
always brings out the worst. I'm sorry.
which is why I told Wishlist Rose to message it to
Message
me,
it.
and we'll talk about it in the ship show tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Everything goes back to shipping.
Everything
It really
goes
does.
back
It's
to
so
shipping.
crazy. We know unequivocally she is not. Hey,
I am not.
and that's okay. But buns in the oven, battle buns. I really should say battle buns. I like battle buns, but that's okay. Battle buns. It's totally fine
You just
to
started it.
not be a rule breaker and still have success. It's great. I think it's great. You know, when you walk into Tracy's show or slide into Tracy's show, every rule is going to be followed. Every I is going to be dotted. It's going to go the whatnot way. And she's going to succeed at what she's doing it that way, right?
Let's hope.
There you go.
See, and I honestly, I'm a loophole finder.
You are. My wife will find a loophole at 90 yards. I'm telling you right now, she'll find it. She will find it.
You know what's funny? I used to be a real big loophole person.
You're good now.
Now I try to look at it from a little bit of a different perspective.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I've noticed that whenever I try to push loophole attributes, there's too much negativity correlated to that. Like, just because you can get away with something, that whole thing doesn't mean, you should do it.
Yep.
Because in, the end, a loophole may not be socially acceptable. And we're on a social app, so
correct.
And then sometimes, unfortunately, loopholes end up being socially acceptable, and we know what we're talking about since we're talking about shipping, and it frustrates everyone in this room. So,
and socially acceptable is not whatnot TOS acceptable. So you still have to be careful with what you've got going on there.
Yeah. So.
Maybe social acceptability will eventually get TOS changed, but until then, just be careful with what you're doing.
So where are we going now with the conversation?
I can't believe we only have 13 minutes left and we never really got off the initial subject.
We did, kind of, right? Didn't we go? We went to the wings. We went from summer slowdown to.
That's fair.
Wings,
okay.
And then somehow ended up in shipping again.
That's fair. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, 13 minutes left. If you have questions that you would like to ask, please, by all means, continue popping them up in the chat. We will discuss. In the meantime, what else?
I don't know what else, because we keep picking topics we all agree on.
Right now.
So, who thinks you should promote a show?
No,
someone, I can't remember who, I think it was Colton, asked if you would pay 0.8%
to promote
to get higher discoverability,
Colton.
Which I thought was interesting. And I would if the analytics were right.
Yes.
Were reported correctly.
Colton, if I got Premier Shop status and I got the wings and I got that 0.8% reduction, I probably would put it right into promotion.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I would pay for.
Yeah.
I would pay, there's two things Whatnot had that I would pay for. The live tile that is now subdued in comparison to what it was before.
Yeah.
Stories.
And stories.
Yeah.
100%. That's a thing that would have value to me, where if nobody knows what I'm talking about, stories was a thing that Whatnot had. It was free of charge. If you followed somebody and they decided to add a story, it would pop up. They were brief shorts, essentially, that would pop up at the top of your feed. Some of them weren't even about products or sales. They were just people saying things or doing things, for fun and in order to attract attention, but they got rid of it. And it was only for people that, were following you. And I would pay for that. because that's easy to know it's going to be there. You know it's at the top. You know the metrics aren't the only metrics you're looking for is the fact that it's there and in people's feeds. I'd pay for that, and I know how much added value the live tile was to me, and if it was something I could pay for, and other people didn't have it and I did, I think that would well make it worth the money.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
Tracy, do you want to plug the PA meetup, or is it too early yet?
No, September 26th, we are doing a PA meetup. If anybody is in the area anywhere, just DM me. I'm still working on getting all the information together, but it's going to be a little bit different of a meetup. We will have some breakout rooms. There's going to be a networking component, but an educational component with it. Jeremy's going to be speaking. Lysandra's going to be speaking, and Dragonfly Neen, am I saying her name right? Dragonfly Neen is going to be speaking also. So we're going to have, it's going to be fun. So September 26th.
She's like, screw Tony.
Well, Lysandra volunteered. Tony didn't volunteer. Lysandra volunteered.
I'm just teasing.
I will be
It's
talking
like
about it
our
in
whole
my
little
shows.
panel, except Tony.
Yes. I'll be talking about it in future shows. I'm sure we'll be bringing it up here just as we move forward. But right now, it's just the date has been set. There will be a fee for it. It's going to be minimal because we're going to have breakfast and lunch catered. And that's all I have for you right now. I'm still working on details.
Tony will make a cameo.
Oh, I'll be there. I'm going to show up. Don't you worry.
Maybe we'll make Tony the Noel's assistant, like cameraman too.
I'll be your gaffer. I'm just running lines.
Or maybe you're the Bob Barker and you have a microphone and you're walking around to the rooms with Noel.
Oh, I could do that all day.
Anyway,
Sorry.
that was a squirrel.
We're at the squirrel phase.
We are.
Yeah. We're at the squirrel phase, which is fine. Is there? I'm guessing there's nothing we want to. We can cap off to the evening with for anybody that joined us late or anyone that doesn't want to watch this thing from beginning to end. I'm pretty certain I can throw that out there that we all agree that summer slowdown is not a thing, right?
Correct.
And that it's more personal attribute to what is perceived as a summer slowdown. Essentially, what you're going through personally is what's creating that type of environment for you.
I agree with that 100%. I think if you are responsible for your business and you put the time in it and you stay consistent with it, you should never have a true slowdown based on a season or a holiday or anything outside of your control.
Ooh, I'm going to go back to the summer slowdown, and because I forgot to mention something, and I'm sorry, this is eBay related, but I bet if Whatnot got gift cards, it would have the same effect. Everybody talks about how
January.
the January slowdown after Christmas because everybody's broke from buying Christmas presents. In vintage decor on eBay, January was one of our best months.
Consistently.
Over years, January was almost always our best month. Beyond the typical before Christmas, but January was smoking hot in vintage decor on eBay. And I think it's because of all the people that got gift cards for Christmas and are now buying their own presents with those gift cards.
Yeah. Coupled with the buying presents you thought you were getting.
It didn't get.
And didn't get.
Or well, it is. There's multiple factors. Yes. There's the gift card factor, there's that factor, and then there's another version of that factor, which is people that didn't buy something for themselves because they didn't want to buy it and end up getting it as a gift.
Right.
So they waited till after Christmas to respect a potential gift giver.
Oh, 100% there's other factors there, but I truly believe that the gift card option was a big chunk of that.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I think it's something, this is a small disagreement. I think the other factors are bigger because I don't think a ton of people give eBay gift cards.
I would disagree with that, sir.
Okay. I know. That's because
Wait a
you just said that.
Hold on.
I would absolutely disagree.
I don't
eBay-
know anyone that has ever received or given.
I didn't even
and
know
I never looked
eBay
at the
had gift
statistics.
cards, so
They do.
maybe I'm way
They do.
behind.
Yeah, they do, but I just don't think they're a go-to. I think it's more of a niche gift card for people. I mean, how many people do you know for certainty that buy on eBay regularly? Does anybody in the chat know someone that friends and family that buy regularly on eBay? I'm just curious.
Besides my husband, no.
So
Right.
maybe,
Well,
so
then, yes,
maybe
you do.
take
Your
that a
husband
step
does.
back.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not so much an eBay branded gift card, but a Visa, MasterCard gift card, the
Yeah.
generalized ones.
Maybe.
Yeah, could be. But those would have kind of similar.
Only the nerds.
Only the nerds. That, I mean, we're getting off on a side. I think that it's still a lot of value in there, and no matter which way we slice it, whatnot needs to get on that and get the gift
All right.
cards.
I've got a hot take lightning round. Summer slowdown, fact or excuse? Tracy,
Excuse.
Tony,
Excuse.
Jeremy.
If I'm only allowed to choose the two without elaborating an excuse.
No elaborating.
round.
It's lightning round. Premier seller, trust badge or sales badge? Tracy,
Trust badge.
Tony.
I don't know what this means. What does it mean?
That's because you were gone.
I know. What do you mean?
We were talking about the premier seller badge. Is it actually about customer service and trusting sellers, or is it about sales?
Oh, well, then I
Okay.
changed my answer. It's sales. I thought you wanted which one I would rather have. No, it's sales then.
Are you saying that it represents more of a sales badge or a trust badge? Is that
Thank
the
you.
question?
Thank you, guys. So I'm not the only one who did not get that because I
Sorry.
wasn't here. Okay. Thank you. We all did. We all didn't. What do I think it represents? Sales.
Jeremy?
Sales.
Okay. Biggest mistake sellers make during the summer?
Who are you
Just
asking
that?
first?
Yeah, we'll go in the same order.
Lack of consistency.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I don't even have a different one.
He'll agree too much.
What's
What's your answers?
We all agree to the same stuff. We can. Your lightning round is basically we've already agreed to all the points, so it's going to kind of result that way.
What's your answer that doesn't agree?
I would say consistency too. So,
We agree.
one thing you'd change about premier seller tomorrow?
Dollar requirement.
Having the banner.
What would I change about it? I would get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
There you go.
I say badges. Anyway,
You got more?
I do have more questions, but we have 3 minutes and we can't do the other questions. I always have questions.
Oh, come on.
Come on,
Go.
just one more.
Next.
Do
We have
one
3
more.
minutes.
Yeah.
Do one more.
Oh, I'll take sleeping in a hammock there, Thrifton.
Just pick one. If we can't finish, we can finish it next week.
Ooh, if someone sells $100,000 but has mediocre customer service, should they qualify for the premier seller badge?
No.
Well, no. See, we still got time.
Keep going.
Next question.
Just read.
Should category size affect qualification?
No.
The least amount of aspects outside of the core principles. No, so no. I mean, it should just be the core principles that affect it.
Here's one. Should premier seller status, should it remain in place and it's going to be a permanent fixture, should premier seller status requirements be scaled based on percentages of the seller selling? Maybe it's not 50,000. Can the 50,000 be scaled down to something else? Or scaled up based on prior quarters, quarter over quarter? If they sold 10,000, if they sold 10,000 in quarter 3 of last year, should their metric be more than 10,000 for the quarter this year.
So you're talking about every seller would have their own different sales metric to qualify for premier
I'm
status?
simply asking, would that make sense
That'd
and
be a
put it,
lot.
would it make sense and put it in more of an even playing field than $50,000, which in health and beauty, I could literally knock out in 3.5 weeks versus Tracy, who can't hit 50,000 in
I mean,
8 months.
you go in,
Nothing.
No.
I wasn't.
you go into bags, and you can hit that in 10 sales.
Yeah, can I do luxury bags and in an hour and a half I've already hit 50,000 in sales. So should it be scalable based on what they sell? That was not a lightning question, but what do we think on that?
Now we're over.
We're
Thanks,
over now.
Tony.
You're welcome.
No, that brings us back to the fact that it's still monetarily based as opposed to equally based across everybody from the first day seller to the seasoned seller. And the attributes for something that is simply described as that should be equally obtainable by everybody.
But that should be equally attainable by everybody. If I'm selling in quarter one of 25 and I sold $7,000 in that quarter, should my metric be, did I sell more than $7,000 in the next first quarter?
So here's my problem with
It
it.
takes a year to get premier status at that point. You have
That
to go
means
a whole
every
year.
time you succeed, you have to succeed more. So if you succeed more, then the next time you have to succeed even more. Then you start talking about the accessibility of sourcing and whether that is a possibility or not. And then we branch out into all kinds of other different stipulations.
But
that
wouldn't
could
that be a
actually
better metric for Whatnot to get more sales?
So number
Well,
one,
yeah, of course, for Whatnot, but not for the people involved that are trying to reach to obtain the title.
so first of all, could Whatnot even maintain that type of system? They can't even maintain Premier Seller, which they've watered down to meaningless trash, in my opinion.
It's easily maintained. It's easily maintainable. The numbers
they could maintain it. That they could track that easily. But so I understand, and then we probably do. We're over time now.
Yeah, we are.
You're talking about I start out and the first 3 months builds my baseline metric for reaching it.
The first year, you have to hit all 4 quarters before year over year hits. It gives the opportunity to learn.
Okay.
Over
so
the
after
course
you're
of the
on the app for a year, you don't even have the ability to reach the metric. So right out of the gate, you already are getting the perception of how young you are on the app if you don't have it potentially.
Yep.
But besides that, and then after year over year, you're saying then based on those year over year metrics determines whether you get it or not going forward.
Correct.
Okay. Then what happens after? Is it the 3 months or is it always based on year over year? Do you get this tag or this banner?
So in quarter one of my first year, I set my baseline for quarter one of next year. Quarter one of next year sets my baseline for the next year. There's always incremental growth that's going to incur.
So it forces. So you're saying it would, like I said, it'd be a forced aspect of you have to every time
you'd have to
succeed
grow
above and beyond it.
The problem with that though is not everybody wants to grow. Some people just want to maintain what they've already accomplished.
Exactly. There should be zero
and,
metric
and
on
what
there
if you want to change
mixed.
Yeah, if you want to change your business model from your growth to profit as opposed to sales numbers, like if you decide you want to source differently or something like that, then you're losing it. Because if you are smart, there's another way you can grow, and that is by selling fewer items at a larger profit.
At a larger profit.
And then you're penalized for it. Not to mention, again, you constantly have to year over year. What if you have an anomaly month, and then the next year you're like, I can't even hit that. I understand what you're trying to accomplish and what your hopes are for it, but ultimately, just take the money out of it.
But yeah, I get that too. But in my head, most people who are doing this are doing it to earn money, and I feel like if there's 80,000, 100,000 sellers on Whatnot, the majority of them are doing it as a business. Lysandra's not wrong. There's always going to be some that have the social aspect of it more than the growth of it. But if you're tying it to a business and the main goal of the business is to grow, and the main goal of Whatnot is to earn commission fees, and growth is the best way to get those fees, why wouldn't you just tie it to growth?
That's easy to solve with going back to the badges. You could have a
The
badge that is
Badgers.
incorporated. You could just have a badge that's like, hey, you exceeded last year's whatever, and they assign some type of name, like you're a super seller, whatever that
Yeah.
would mean to people, or they could come up with something. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but you give me, a day, I could probably think of a series of badges that would be for top, for selling, for customer service, for shipping quality, for hours online. Like there's so many you could do that everyone could try to go towards, and all of it essentially would lead to more money for Whatnot.
Yeah.
From all the different avenues.
And I still think, because you have some bias in there, because your goal is always growth in our business. But I've watched Tracy's shows. I've seen her ask it several times, and the amount of people that are happy where they're at and don't want any additional growth in their Whatnot business is pretty significant.
Yeah,
I've
I
actually
mean, they could.
changed to how I talk and the topics I talk about. Not necessarily the topics, but my thought process to include those people more proactively in my notes and what I say, because there's such a large population of people who want to maintain and not grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fair. Again, it was just something that popped in my head,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it made sense from a business.
Here's my perspective again. The badge principle is whatnot. I'm glad you brought that up, Lysandra, because that's a great principle and foundational aspect. Because there's so many things that could be attributed at. Like they always talk about consistency. What if they gave people consistency badges? So if there was someone that's new and they only want to be on once a week, and you're on once a week, you get a consistency badge.
You're on every week.
If you're,
Yep.
if you're like, oh, you hit 1,000, it's like some people want to hit, one of the goals Whatnot wants you to get to is longer periods of time. So you're like, hey, you hit 1,000 hours of stream time. Congratulations.
Here's a badge.
We're giving you a badge for whatever you want to call it. Year-over-year growth badges, whatever you want to actually call,
Or 1 year, 2 year, 3 years live or whatnot.
Yes,
Because that would also solve that.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff could be solved with badges. People would appreciate it. And can you imagine? Then you'd have the people with that are highly decorated. Like I'm a highly decorated seller. I have this stream of badges up there. And and no one would think negatively about it. Be like, oh, okay, that person's been on a long time. They earned their badges.
And
That's why that system has worked.
And I also feel like it would kind of get rid of the comparison between, oh, this is a premier seller, oh, this isn't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, so real quick, we are going to end this. It's 8:37, but I'm going to end it with a final note. I will be final note tonight. No, Battle Buns, there are not levels of Premier Shop. It is you are or you are not. Forgotten Memories, what was it? Dang it, you're already pushed up. Should Whatnot be harsher on big sellers who don't follow TOS? And I don't care what everybody else has to say. No. They should be equally harsh on TOS violations. There should be no extra penalties because you're a big seller.
I think he's saying they're more lenient on bigger sellers.
They should be equal.
So in other words, the interpretation of the true intended question was, yes, they should be harsher because their perspective is that they're not as harsh as they are on smaller sellers.
Gotcha.
Would be my take from the way it was questioned.
It should be
your answer is
equally as-
correct. It should be equal to everybody, but there seems to be a favorability towards larger sellers.
Yes. I didn't read it that way, but that is a fair assessment.
That's how I would have read it.
Gotcha.
All right. Good night, guys.
Everybody,
Bye,
Thank you for
have a great week. Hopefully we'll see you on the Whatnot streaks.
Thanks for joining, everybody.
Catch you all later.
See you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.